Hello, my wonderful friends. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, my name is Sarsana, and today we are going to be talking about my top 10 books of 2024. There were so many good reads. I read about 114 books when I am recording this right now. We are like 2 or 3 days away from the New Year's, so I just wanted to come on here and talk about my top 10 books that I read in 2024. I had one of the best reading years this year. I cannot believe that I've read so many books this year. Last year in 2023, I read like 71 books or something like that. And this year, my goal was to hit 100. I've hit that and I'm so beyond proud of myself. I don't know how I did it. I have gotten used to reading physical books, audiobooks, and reading it on my Kindle. Whoever said getting a Kindle saves you money is a damn liar, because I have physical books that I also read on my Kindle. If it's not on KU, then I'll use like my Amazon points or just buy out the Kindle books. If it's good enough, then I will also get the audiobooks. Most of all of Brandon Sanderson books I have on my shelf, on my Kindle, and on audiobooks, because that's how much I love him. But at last, let me digress from that. Let's talk about the 10 books that I cannot stop thinking about this year. I am thinking we are going to tier rank them from lowest to highest. I did not go through like all of the books that I read this year. It is literally me closing my eyes and thinking about what books impacted me the most, what books I cannot stop thinking about, regardless of the rating I had given it. Okay, so this year I met Nisha Sharma, and if you guys have watched my previous vlogs, you know how much I love her. She is a Desi author. She's an Indian author, and I discovered her last year reading Dating Dr. Dill, and I flew through the trilogy. This year I read Marriage and Masti by Nisha Sharma. This is a part of the If Shakespeare Was an Auntie series. It's a trilogy. This is the third book. The second book is Tastes Like Shakkar. First book is Dating Dr. Dill, and third book is Marriage and Masti, an interconnected romance. It's about three friends on the girl side and three friends on the guy side, and they all like find love within one another, and it's just like so cute. This is a friends to lovers situation here, and it is such a healthy and wholesome romance. I got all of the cultural vibes off of this that I wanted. It was just absolutely delicious, very spicy. I really love this. If I was watching a Hindi movie, then it would give me the storyline. I love the concept of how they were talking about like dancing, Hindi movies, music, and I just loved everything about it. And then number 9, we have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I love Rebecca Ross's writing. It was so beautiful, so whimsical. There wasn't much like fantasy elements in this book. We had more of that in the second book, but I enjoyed the first book a lot more than the second book. This is a romance between Iris and Roman, and they are rivals at their workplace. They're both journalists set in like the 1900s because they're using typewriters to type out their writing. They both come across two magical keyboards. Somehow they both write letters to one another. She first writes a letter trying to locate her brother, but it actually goes to Roman, and he knows who she is, but she doesn't know who he is. And it's just such a cute romance. I absolutely loved it. The ending of this book really gutted me, and it made me pick up the second book right away. The second book, it had like some weird elements, the fantasy elements, it just kind of got thrown in your face. It wasn't much of like a trickle, like we didn't get much information about it in here. So I was just kind of like, where did this come from? This book was absolutely beautiful, top tier. And then next we have Heartless by Elsie Silver. This book, single dad romance, small town. He falls in love with his nanny. He is like grumpy and she is sunshine. His kid is so freaking cute. Give me a single parent romance any freaking day with a cute little kid. Oh my gosh, I will eat it up. And this romance was so beautiful. I love Cade Eaton. I will forever think about him. He is one of my favorite cowboys to this day. I discovered Cowboy Romances and Elsie Silver this year, and I can't stop thinking about it. This book is chef's kiss. The found family aspects in this, there's so much growth like internally, and I just, oh my gosh, I loved it so much. It was so good. This is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. The first book is, I think, flawless, and as good as that was, this is like my absolute favorite in the series. That's why I'm holding it up for you guys. But the entire Chestnut Spring series is all good vibes. It is just absolutely beautiful, and they are about all of the Eaton brothers, and it's just so freaking cute. I read this, I think, during like the summertime, and it was like the perfect read for the summer. We have Mile High by Liz Tomfordy. This book, oh my goodness. I have been introduced to hockey romance through this book, and you guys, I think this changed something inside me. This changed my brain chemistry, and this opened doors for me. And I am a hockey stan, as far as romance books goes. I don't know about the sport. However, this was such a beautiful romance. It was so cute. It was good vibes all from the beginning. There was so much bantering between Xander's and Stevie. Like, Xander's his book boyfriend number something. He's like in the top 5. And it was just such a good read. This is about Xander's. He's a hockey player. Stevie, she is a flight attendant. She is the flight attendant to the airplane that takes him to and from games. He is living in Chicago, and she is living with her brother in Chicago. She loves to volunteer. She loves to go thrifting, and he is rich, and he is very snobby about his clothes and stuff like that. He loves fashion. Him and Stevie, it's like fire and ice. He loves to tease her, and she just hates him because she thinks like he is a rich hockey player who can get whatever he wants to, and Stevie is like a little bit more cautious. She is very insecure about her body. Where she's ashamed of her body, he worships it. He loves every little thing about her that she feels insecure about. We see Stevie grow so much in this book, and it shines a lot of light on insecurities, on body shaming and insecurities, and a lot of vulnerability as far as being in the spotlight and what it can do to some people, and was absolutely beautiful. I will forever think about this book. Anytime you talk about hockey romances to me, this book will be the first thing that comes to my mind, because Xander's and Stevie, I wish they were like real life people so I could be friends with them. This is a part of the Windy City series. This is the first book in the series. I'm still chipping my way through the rest of the series, so I don't know if this is going to be stay number 1 or not, but because Xander's and Stevie introduced me to hockey romances, they will definitely hold a special place in my heart forever. And then Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is the first book in the Boys of Tommen series, and it is very traumatizing. There is child abuse and just physical abuse in this book. A lot of talk about like anxiety and stuff like that, and it is very deep, but also very beautiful. This is a romance between Johnny Kavanaugh and Shannon. Shannon doesn't have like the best home life. She gets bullied at school a lot, and she had to like switch schools because she was getting bullied so badly at her prior school. After she got enrolled into this really expensive school, she meets Johnny Kavanaugh, and he is literally like her knight in shining armor. It's just so beautiful, the romance between them. There's like no spice in this because it is like a YA book. It was so heart-wrenching. It's shown the light on a lot of sensitive topics, so definitely check your trigger warnings going into this. Check your trigger warnings going into any book. I never read a Chloe Walsh book before, and she has become one of my favorite authors this year. This book just amazing. I read Binding and Keeping 13, but I can't get myself to read the next book because it's about Joey, Shannon's brother, and the shit that he went through in this book physically makes me sick, and I am so terrified to read his books because I don't want to be in his head, and I'm like scared it's going to like mentally put me in depression. So I am, I guess, preparing myself. I really want to pick it up next year though, because This series is absolutely phenomenal. And then we have Lady of Starfire by Melissa K. Rorick. This is the 5th book in the Lady of Ashes series, and she has a spin-off series. I can't wait to start that series, but it's not complete, so I'm not starting it. But let's talk about this book because that's why we're here, right? This book is about Scarlet and Soren. This world is so intricate. There's a lot that goes into it. Like, if you read Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, like combine them and this is their baby. There's a lot of things that are similar to ACOTAR and Throne of Glass in this series, but it's like its own series. And if you read a lot of fanbro, then you're going to see like a pattern in fanbro, like other fanbro books, and it's not anything super unique, but it is in its own way, if that makes sense. But I absolutely devoured this series. These books are not easily consumable. Like, they're very thick. This one is how long is this? This book is a little over 700 pages, and I think I read this in like 2 or 3 days because how could I not? I couldn't put this down. If you're looking for a new fantasy romance, if you're looking to support an indie author, then I highly recommend you check out Melissa K. Rorick. And how can I not put him in here next? Like, I finished the first arc of the Mistborn series, and this is Era 1. This is the 3rd book in Era 1 of the Mistborn series. This book made me want to toss it across my room. Like, I wanted to toss, like, I've never felt the need to toss a book in my entire life, but the ending in this book pissed me off. It was I guess a good ending in a way as far as the overall population is entailed. However, for my favorite characters, the way things ended for them, why? But it was really good. Like, the entire story, it was really good. It's very gripping, and it gets you ready for Stormlight Archives. Definitely read this series before getting into Stormlight Archives, but you know, if you don't do it that way, then you don't do it that way. I didn't know when I went into it. The magic system, per usual in Sanderson's writing, is absolutely complex, intriguing. The familial bonds, the found family, the friendships, the character development, absolutely mind-blowing. I'm so terrified to go into Era 2 of Mistborn because I think we're supposed to be getting a new book in Era 2. If you haven't picked out Sanderson's books, if you're a fantasy lover, it will not steer you the wrong way. And then I read Crescent City 3. This is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. I have waited for this book for like over 2 years, just like many of you. And the shit that Sarah J. Maas put us through in this series should be criminal. The amount of anguish we go through in this series is absolutely ridiculous. I read this in like 2 days and I cried the entire book. There were some parts that were like slow. You had to kind of crawl your way through the plot a little bit, but it was so worth it. The intertwining of certain plots was extremely unsatisfying. However, I loved it. I loved that we crossed paths that way. I love that we got to see some of our favorite characters, and it was just an absolute amazing read. Like, talking about this makes me want to do a reread right now. That's how much I loved it. I will never stop thinking about this book. Coming in second, we have Fourth Wing. Absolutely love this book. I can't wait to reread this book next month because we are getting Onyx Storm. I'm so excited. I haven't read Iron Flame yet because I heard so many controversial opinions and reviews about it. Thank God I haven't come across any spoiler videos, but that will be read next after I do a reread of this so I can be ready for Onyx Storm. If you love dragons, if you love fantasy romance, what else do you need? We also have enemies to lovers in here, like, come on. And if you're getting started in reading and you are interested in fantasy, here you go. And then coming in first place, We have Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. You guys, I don't want to wait for the next book. I really don't. I wish I paced myself through this book, but at the same time, I'm glad I read it because I wouldn't be able to stop thinking about it. This is the 5th book in the Stormlight Archive series. The stuff that happens within these pages, mind you, this is over 1,300 pages, okay? I think I read this in 4 days. Make that make sense. I didn't sleep. I barely ate. These characters consumed me. This series consumed me. I love Brandon Sanderson's writing. I love this world. I love these characters. I absolutely love this magic system. The way this book ended, it felt like trashing a room and walking away, leaving it messy, and then somebody that, like us as readers, we are, let's say we're like clean freaks and we come in and we like see this mess, and just having to stand in that shit and just like look at everything and not be able to clean it. Like, does that make sense to anybody else? Absolutely heart-wrenching. But this was an amazing, phenomenal, complex, comprehensive, emotional, heart-wrenching book. I have no other adjectives or pronouns to describe how amazing this book is. I love this book so much. This makes me want to stare at a wall now. And that is all for my top 10 reads of 2024. What are some of your favorite books that you read this year? This year has, again, been one of the best as far as how many books in quality and quantity that I read. However, quality matters more than quantity. But I'm still proud of the fact that I read 114 books this year so far. Like, how did I do that? I don't even know. But I'm so proud of myself. I read so many amazing books. I was introduced to so many new authors, and the fact that I found a couple of indie authors as well, because that was my goal at the beginning of the year, to read more indie published books, and I did that, and I'm so happy that I was able to do that. And I cannot wait for next year and all of the amazing books that I'm going to be reading next year. I feel like we are going to be fed next year, and I cannot wait for 2025. All right, my wonderful friends, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.